fan, you have a very full day at the Pau Grand Prix. There have been a couple of races already this morning. Now the fans get ready for Formula 3. 29 laps or 35 minutes, depending on which comes first. And the cars slot into place on the grid now. Esteban Ocon is the man at the front. And there, Nicholas Latifi heading for the pit lane by the look of it. Now, what's all that about? Nicholas Latifi goes to the pits. There was a suggestion that Fuoco may start from the pit lane as well to run in clear traffic and just have proper mileage before qualifying 2 that comes later in the day, because he didn't get much running in yesterday. And Fuoco's Prema Power team car comes up towards the grid, just looking to see if that peels to the pit lane. Don't think it does. So Nicholas Latifi in the pits, reasons unknown. And the man that would have been on the second row leaves a gap, therefore, ahead of Jordan King, who should be able to capitalise on that as we get ready for the start of round 7 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. The drivers look towards the lights. 5 will go red. When the lights go out, we're racing, and Ocon makes a good start straight across the front of Auer to defend. Verstappen goes with Ocon, and now on the outside, on the wrong line, effectively, is Lucas Auer. He was almost hung out to dry. He's still challenging as they head down towards the Virage de Gare for the first time, but it is going to be Esteban Ocon who leads the way, and all over him like a rash is Lucas Auer, who is determined to find a way past him. He thinks he's got car speed as they climb uphill for the first time to the Pont Oscar. You can't overtake at this section of the circuit on the first lap. That's because of the narrowness and the size of the grid. Lap 2 and onwards, you're fine. This is another part restricted for overtaking on the first lap to try to reduce the number of first accidents, but it's not worked because off has already gone Mitch Gilbert. He's number 9, who's lost his rear wing, and one of the 3 bond with Nissan cars, I think that's Alex Toril, is involved in that as well. I fear we're going to go safety car. Yes, I saw a board. The safety car is going to be deployed on the first lap of the race. Esteban Ocon leads from Lucas Auer and Max Verstappen. Jake Dennis, great first lap from him. He runs 4th. Here's the replay. Wow, a big, big drama for Alexander Toril. Launched into a roll. Wow. I suspect he would have gone over the back of Mitch Gilbert under braking, and that's the result of it. 2 cars broken, off by the side of the road. The safety car is deployed, not a surprise at all. Everybody will now bunch up. They will continue to try and keep the warmth in the tyres. There is the safety car. But that was a big, big impact. Scary ride for Alexander Toril. I suspect as everybody braked for the hairpin, he braked too late and really used the back of Mitch Gilbert as a ramp, launched himself into view, didn't he? And again, it shows the strength of the Formula 3 car. Let's look at a replay of the first couple of corners. Lights out, straight away. Ocon moves across on Lucas Auer, defends. Verstappen goes with him, and that looked as though Auer was going to be hung out to dry, but he was able to cut across, and this is the drama at the Pont Oscar. Alexander Toril rolls into view. Others very lucky not to get caught up in that. Mitch Gilbert we have lost from the race. And the safety car board is there, and the arrow, which is on the other board, is to say to the drivers, keep to that side of the track, and then the other cars can be dragged out of the way. Thankfully, they're not far away, look, from an access point. So the marshals, who are well versed in retrieving cars around this circuit, straight away are able to get Toril and Mitch Gilbert's cars off the road. We may have one more lap of safety car, but we won't have too many more, I wouldn't have thought. So everybody runs in formation. Ocon leads Auer, leads Verstappen. Dennis is 4th. 5th is Jordan King. 6th is Felix Sorales. 7th is Giovinazzi. 8th is Ed Jones. 9th is Sean Galile. And in 10th place, it's Spike Goddard. Fuoco has made good progress on his first lap. He's in 16th position. And Nicholas Latifi, whether he has joined the race or not, unclear as yet. Wait to try and grab a shot, if he can, of Latifi's car, if it is indeed circulating. But curious that he elected to start from the pit lane rather than be on the second row of the grid. Well, that's the message of the moment. Safety car boards all around the circuit. Drivers working their way downhill, heading towards the timing line. This is the run down back to the start area. And field being led around by Esteban Ocon. Michael and Robertson, racing mechanics, having a look at the timing data as well to see how their cars are doing. So you can see the amount of weaving. In fairness to the officials, the safety car's going at a good pace here to enable the drivers to have some sensible speed in their cars and therefore keep the tyres up to temperature, which you need to have for safety reasons. We should hopefully be able to go green pretty soon. Let's just see how the clear-up operation is going when the cars have climbed to the top here of the Boulevard des Pyrénées, and they get to Pont Oscar under the bridge. Looks okay on that shot. Of course, the access point is just around the hairpin, so assuming those cars are out of the way, then fingers crossed we can go back to racing next time around. We have done one full lap of racing, and as the cars currently work their way behind the safety car, Esteban Ocon is the man who needs to be on his toes on the restart. Through the Foch chicane. The team's getting ready for the restart. It's the satellite Carlin operation that runs the Jagonia I Am with Carlin team, and the safety car quickens its pace to head for the pit lane, and so now the drivers get themselves ready, working their way downhill. Next time around, hopefully, we will see a green flag. Esteban Ocon has bunched everybody up behind him. Lucas Auer was very determined away from the line. Is he going to be just as determined on the restart? We go racing them, and as they plunge downhill, you can't overtake until you get to the timing line, and Ocon has checked out already. He's pulled a gap of about 2 lengths over the line, so now Max Verstappen is the man to watch to see whether he can do anything about Lucas Auer. He pulls to the inside. Auer, though, really good on the brakes at the Virage du Gard, closing right up onto the back there of Esteban Ocon. Jake Dennis runs a bit wide onto the curb in the background, but look at Verstappen. He's right on the tail of Lucas Auer, heading uphill then, heading towards Pont Oscar for the first time on this restart, and as they turn their way through now and climb uphill, Verstappen is close, but he's struggling to find a gap. That's his next problem, through the Lycée Barthou for the first time, and now the speed builds as they work their way towards Parc Beaumont. Jake Dennis in 4th place, he's coming under attack. The cars then now head towards the Foch chicane for the first time. You can see what a fast part of the circuit this is, and it's a very daunting chicane through which they will flick downhill for the first time on this restart. Ocon leading the way and making good his escape now, including the safety car laps. We've done 3 laps now, onto lap 4 of the 29. Jake Dennis heading his Carlin traffic jam indeed as he comes downhill. Felix Sorales splitting the group in his dark blue Westech car with its Mercedes engine. He's on the back of Jordan King and ahead of Antonio Giovinazzi. There, Sorales coming through shot as Ocon goes over the line in the lead of the race, still being pursued by Lucas Auer. The gap between them, 0.4 of a second. Sorales now lining up to try to make a move against Jordan King as the cars climb uphill once again. Behind them is Antonio Giovinazzi, and then a good battle behind as well. Ed Jones fending off Sean Gillisle, heading uphill. Pont Oscar this time is where you see Jake Dennis turn through, drop down the gears, climb uphill once more, and then into the Lycée Barthou, another tight section of the circuit, which has been the undoing of 1 or 2 over the course of the weekend thus far. Back on the power, up towards Parc Beaumont, but Esteban Ocon leading the way and building the gap more and more. 0.8 of a second it is now up to. The way that he was attacking the circuit yesterday, and he knows it because he's raced here in Formula Renault, is impressive. There is Sorales coming out of the Foch chicane at which he crashed yesterday, and he is conscious that Antonio Giovinazzi is inching up onto the back of him. Jordan King swings downhill through the Puy Miro, and now towards the chicane. This very quick flick where there's a mini roundabout really converted into a curve for the weekend. Downhill they head. The end of lap number 4 coming up, and Esteban Ocon leads the way. Lucas Auer, however, can't really shake off the brave Max Verstappen. Over the timing line they have gone, and Verstappen is doing his level best to get onto the back of Auer for 2nd place. The field streams through. These are the 3 leaders who, if anything, look like they've bunched up just a little. Ocon, however, is trying to be pressure-free and error-free up front, and he knows that even if Auer gets right onto the back of him, overtaking is not that easy. So Esteban Ocon is controlling the pace. Max Verstappen, meanwhile, needs to throw caution to the wind here, I think, and work out how to get past Lucas Auer. They head uphill once more. Towards Parc Beaumont they go, and the gap 0.7 of a second between the top 2 at the first intermediate. It's actually gone up just a little since the start of the lap, but it has come down since the last lap. It's another of these Formula 3 elastic gaps that we have so often. But up front, Esteban Ocon is looking strong. There, second is Lucas Auer in the Muka Motorsport car. And then in third, Max Verstappen, his first ever race around here. And strangely, the team's first race. Van Amersfoort Racing is an experienced Dutch squad, but it has never been here before either. add that together, you'd think they'd be struggling, but actually Verstappen and Van Amersfoort making a good combination, and the car second fastest in qualifying, running third over the line as Ocon for Prema Power Team leads the Muka Motorsport car of our fourth and fifth for Carlin. Jake Dennis ahead of Jordan King, but it's Serrales, Giovinazzi, Ed Jones and Sean Galisle there, coming under pressure now from Spike Goddard. Goddard, the Australian, right onto the back of Sean Galisle now. The Indonesian coming under attack. Antonio Giovinazzi running in 7th position as well at the moment. The cars turn their way now up towards Oscar. Spike Goddard is in this age-old problem though. He's closed onto the back of Galisle for 9th place, but now he just can't find the room to get past. And while he's stuck there, he's going to be caught by Ed Jones, and then he'll have to start defending, and it's all going to change. So it's not an easy situation to be in. The cars work their way uphill once more through Parc Beaumont. This long train still squabbling for the lower places within the top 10. Esteban Ocon it is who leads the way. His advantage 7/10 of a second. Now he's being helped by this battle for second place because Auer has really dropped off the back of Ocon and he's having to go defensive to keep Max Verstappen at bay. They drop downhill once more. If Verstappen is really brave, he might be able to make a move now. Coming down to turn 1. Is there going to be room on the inside? Well, Auer has that covered. Verstappen's trying to force a mistake out of him. Can he duck up the inside coming out of the corner? No, he can't. He's certainly got the speed. He's being held up, I would suggest, now by Lucas Auer. But Auer is doing the right thing. He's defending as Verstappen looks to the outside, heading up towards Oscar. He can't find a way through there either. All of this is playing into the hands of Esteban Ocon. Again, Verstappen looks on the inside and he's forced the error this time out of Lucas Auer, who runs wide there wheel to wheel. Lucas Auer is absolutely under attack now because Verstappen is alongside him, but he's not fully alongside and Auer keeps the place. Fantastic stuff. Max Verstappen oh so nearly found a way through. A tiny error forced out of Lucas Auer, but a great recovery. Auer was just able to hang on to the place, and so despite Verstappen's efforts, it didn't work for him. The Austrian, he's still second, but there was the evidence of just how you need to attack and try and gain a place. Force a mistake out of your rival. Verstappen was up the inside, he was alongside Lucas Auer, but he couldn't quite do it. Lucas Auer had the car speed despite the error, and now Verstappen has dropped back on the second half of that lap. Over the timing line they come. Advantage Auer in this fight for second place. So Verstappen has got to regroup and he makes the mistake there. Look at the Virage du Gard. He's sideways and he runs wide coming onto this straight, onto the Boulevard des Pyrénées. Now this is where it all started. Auer locks up oh so slightly at the Lycée Barthou, and that enabled Verstappen to get right up alongside. He didn't give Auer much room, did he? Put Lucas Auer up onto the curb. But brave stuff by both of them. This is where it kicked off. Go. Now look, Lucas Auer not only has held the place, he's also built a small advantage. Second and third, sweeping towards Foch through the chicane. They will come in a moment and then plunge downhill. Now Esteban Ocon leads the way by 2 seconds. He really has benefited from this great scrap going on behind him. In 4th place still is Jake Dennis, 5th is Jordan King and 6th is Felix Serrales. Giovinazzi, Jones, Galisle and Goddard round out the top 10. Tom Blomqvist is 11th, still trying to make places, a legacy of his 10th place grid drop, but he doesn't have to worry about that penalty for qualifying 2 and the remaining 2 grids that will be shaped out of that later on in the day. 2 more races for the cars tomorrow, your best time being your race 2 qualifying position. Your second best is what you take for race 3. Without that grid drop, Blomqvist can look forward into qualifying with a bit more confidence. There is Lucas Auer ahead of Max Verstappen. The gap possibly reduced ever so slightly. Verstappen is once again building up for another attack on Lucas Auer. Esteban Ocon still leading the way up front. Once more through the Lycée Barthou. Speed building as the cars go left and then right towards Parc Beaumont. And then they will sweep into the Foch chicane. Verstappen, though, is not staying with Auer. This is a surprise, given how he was all over him like a rash earlier on, having not been able to get through. Is it flippant to suggest he's lost a little bit of the fire out of him in this? And Verstappen, a very fiery driver, I'd be surprised if it was that, but he just didn't seem to have the speed to get alongside and stay alongside Auer, and now he's struggling to fight back. It's rather curious. Downhill they come, out of that quick flick chicane, and then towards the end of the lap. 10 laps about to be completed by the race leader as Esteban Ocon goes over the line. In second place is Lucas Auer, who did the best of anybody in the first sector on this lap, so certainly he's got the message. He needs to press on and try and get away from Max Verstappen. But for Prema Power Team, Esteban Ocon there leads the way. The young French driver for a home soil ahead of Austria and Dutch Verstappen. There they go. That gap half a second, second to third. Verstappen is still trying. Is he going to be able to get near enough though as they work their way now uphill once again? Verstappen, big gap they managed to build over Jake Dennis, who is running in fourth place. And in fairness to Jake Dennis, looks as though he could be on here for his best of the season in fourth position. Ocon, however, is heading for a third win. Remember, he's the only man to have won more than once anyway this year. And victory number 3 looks like it's heading his way, barring a disaster. Versus Verstappen, through the chicane, downhill once more. Lap 11 here at Po out of 29. Round 7 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Over the timing line goes Ocon, then Auer and Verstappen. Ocon has done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.8 set earlier on. The 72nd lap is what they were doing in qualifying, and Ocon, that last time through, a 1:10.890. Tyres up to temperature, fuel load coming down, clear track space. He's making a very good fist of this indeed. Antonio Fuoco, incidentally, 16th, still struggling a little bit. Don't forget, you only get points for being in the top 10. Fuoco comes with his own huge fan club, but they need to be in better voice, I think, here to try and urge their man on. Fuoco is under attack as well. There, look, because coming up alongside him tries to be Felipe Guimaraes as they come towards the Pont Oscar. He can't find a way through, and Felix Rosenqvist is on the back of this little group. These are 3 drivers who, by rights, ought to be a lot nearer the front. Fuoco having to really defend now to keep Guimaraes behind him, and Felix Rosenqvist, many people thought would be the champion this year, has had a really torrid time thus far at Booker Motorsport with a lack of power and a misfire this weekend. He wants to get past Guimaraes and threatens on the inside, coming towards Foch. He's going to be really brave to try there, and he's not that brave, so he slots in behind the Brazilian. Downhill they come. This will take some of the pressure potentially off Fuoco, because Guimaraes is very busy defending now. Right on his tail is the orange Booker Motorsport car of Rosenqvist, but he drops away a little bit as they come downhill through this very, very twisty section of the circuit, through the chicane, and almost up towards the guardrail. There was Guimaraes as the back of the car just stepped out ever so slightly. 16th, 17th, 18th, these 3 are running for. They're out of the points, but it's a very fierce fight. The racing driver's instinct kicks in, doesn't it? You want to get past the man ahead, and a challenge made by Rosenqvist. He gets his nose chopped off, though. Guimaraes was wise to what was coming up there and defends the place strongly. Uphill once more goes Antonio Fuoco. He, albeit in a different livery, drives for Prema Power Team, the same squad for whom Esteban Ocon is leading the race. Now Fuoco's target is his teammate Dennis van der Laar, there, a bit further up the road. But so busy has he been in the last few laps defending from Guimaraes that he's fallen off the back of the Dutchman. Van der Laar has also gone backwards, hasn't he, since the start of the race? He qualified reasonably well in his group. Van der Laar started on the 4th row of the grid. He started 7th. The fact that he's running in 15th ain't good news at all. Esteban Ocon, though, just looks so impressive. The Lotus F1 junior driver, hence the livery on the car, comes over the timing line once again, up towards Pont Oscar, and his advantage, 2.3 seconds last time, is now 2.5 seconds. It's building all the while. Auer second, Verstappen third, Dennis, King, Sorales, Giovinazzi, and Ed Jones round out the top 8. Good damage limitation by Jones, this after his accident of yesterday. Marshall sprinting, yellow flag being waved at the approach there, look, to Park Beaumont, and the safety car board is there again. Have we lost somebody at the Foch chicane? We'll no doubt see in a moment. Ocon gets the message, slows right down. And where is the incident zone? Well, the SC boards are being shown. And out on track there is a drama that requires the safety car. So for the second time in the race, it is neutralised. We're on lap 14 out of the 29, hunting around to try and see where the incident may be. We'll get it in a moment as the cars come down to the timing line. The safety car will scoop them all up at turn 1. There it is. The safety car starts to quicken its pace. So Esteban Ocon's advantage, which was 2.5 seconds, now disappears altogether. And who does this throw a lifeline to? Well, possibly Max Verstappen, because he's right back on the tail of Lucas Auer. It also shows you just how big some of those gaps were that had opened up, and they're all going to disappear now as the safety car is deployed for the second time of asking. Everybody will close up to the tail of the car ahead and be able to challenge on the restart. Often safety cars breed safety cars, but we didn't have that really at the first restart. The team's finding time to look at the pictures, wave at themselves as uphill climbs Esteban Ocon. So where is the incident that leads the safety car? It's a puzzle. We haven't seen it yet. We've done almost a lap now since we first saw a yellow flag. So the cars go to Parc Beaumont. The engineers and Volkswagen technicians in certain garages, certain camps, looking at how their cars are doing. So race order. Esteban Ocon ahead of Lucas Auer in the orange car there. Behind him Max Verstappen in the red, white and black livery. In fourth place Jake Dennis. Fifth Jordan King. Sixth Felix Sarales. In seventh is Antonio Giovinazzi. Eighth Jones. Up to ninth Spike Goddard, and down to 10th has gone Sean Delisle. We've had that change between those two. Whether it happened before or during the safety car period, I couldn't about say, but at the moment that's the order. So Goddard is up one, Sean Delisle falls back. I'm puzzled by why we have this safety car second time around, unless it's been debris somewhere rather than an actual incident. But it's staying out for another lap. Over the timing line they come, everybody weaving around to maintain the warmth in the tyres. There's the top eight: Ocon, Auer, Verstappen, Dennis ahead of King, Sarales, Giovinazzi, and then Jones. Goddard is 9th, Delisle 10th, Blomqvist 11th, John Bright Meisner running 12th ahead of Menezes, Agostini, Van der Laar and Antonio Fuoco. Felix Rosenqvist currently in 18th spot. Oscar once again. So the cars, they return their way from the hairpin uphill. You can see it's only missing from the train, but yet the safety car stays out. So the order remains the same, no overtaking permitted while we have the safety car deployed like this. Chicane they come. Jake Dennis a good strong run, and Felix Sarales I think will be content with this as well after his accident yesterday. Right, now we're going to get the green flag waved. We're going to go back to racing this time. Still puzzled as to why we had the safety car, but we've had it, and it will peel back in. So whatever incident there was, or whatever requirement there was to just suspend the race briefly, it is all done. And so in comes the safety car. The yellow flags will be withdrawn. Green flag on the start line. We're racing again. Jake Dennis is under attack. Look, he's having to defend as they come over the line, because trying to come right up alongside him there is Jordan King as they work their way side by side down towards turn one. Ocon is under attack as well. King on the outside line has to give way. Lucas Auer knows that this restart is his best chance, his perhaps only remaining chance of getting ahead of Esteban Ocon. He couldn't do it. He's also seen off the attack for the moment of Verstappen. Sarales attacks going uphill against Jordan King. With everybody tightly bunched like this, it's all action as the cars climb uphill on this second restart of the race, but I think Ocon has once again just been able to edge away from the opposition here. He's building that advantage as the cars swoop their way towards Posh this time. We're on lap 17 out of 29. Nothing in the leading gaggle has changed on this restart. Esteban Ocon leading the way, and now that Auer has not been able to get past him, so he's dropped back, look, into the clutches of the third place car, Max Verstappen, who is right there on his tail. Jake Dennis in the meantime is still coming under attack. Jordan King is right with him. Sarales runs behind them at the moment as they come downhill once again. Fourth, fifth and sixth, Dennis, King and Sarales. Leaders go through Esteban Ocon's advantage having to be rebuilt all over again. Jordan King is very determined to get past Jake Dennis, who makes a mistake there. Uphill they come onto the Boulevard des Pyrénées, climbing uphill nose to tail. Jordan King wasn't able to get the drag up the hill. He pulls to the outside line. Can he go all the way around the outside there? Surely not. No, he has to cut across and take that line back again. Otherwise, Serrales will be up the inside. But here, look, Jake Dennis is doing a great job of defending. Jordan King, last year's British F3 champion, is right on his tail. Dennis doesn't know his way around an F3 car as well as King does, for example, but he's doing a really good job of defending here. Now that he's secured the place over a couple of corners, he's able to just edge away by a couple of lengths as they drop downhill once again through Foch. Of course, King has got to be on his toes so that Serrales doesn't find a way past him. And then Giovinazzi running in 7th place is closing up as well. They're heading down towards the chicane. Jake Dennis getting away now from Jordan King. Behind King is Serrales. Phoenix, a race winner in this championship in the past, a winner in the British Championship in the past, the Puerto Rican. Came to Europe as part of the Team USA scholarship at the Formula Ford Festival and the Walter Hayes Trophy, going back quite a few years now. And he was very impressive in FF 1600, has continued to be impressive. Second and third still out ahead of Verstappen. Big gap before Jake Dennis et al, really, because you've got everybody stacked up behind him here as they come up the hill. The cars are working their way towards Port Oscar once again. And the safety car was for the retrieval of Kelly Barretta's car, which had gone off at Foch just out of sight of the cameras. So that's why we had the safety car. It has been retrieved, and so now we are back racing once again. Been a disappointing season for Kelly Barretta, but very, very good news that the circuit is clear. Go racing once more. There is Serrales working his way downhill. Behind him, Giovinazzi doing his best to stay on the back, but it's not really close enough to make a move, and as we have seen, overtaking is far from easy. So even if he does close up, it's only if he can force a mistake out of the driver that you're going to have a chance of getting through. And even that doesn't work, because we've seen a couple of instances where cars have overlapped, but the guy behind has never quite had enough drag to go through, enough grunt in a straight line to power ahead. The leader goes through, the gap is building once again. Esteban Ocon, you have to take your hat off to him, has done a very impressive job in this race because he has controlled it from the front, he's not put a wheel wrong, and he's had to deal with these 2 restarts as well as everything else. And Dennis van der Laar's Prema Power Team car in the middle of this pack. There, he pulls out to try and get up alongside Gustavo Menezes, the American driver on the inside. Van der Laar round the outside, what a move! Fantastic! Round the outside, diving into Pont Oscar. He's hung onto the place as well, despite a bit of correction, and a challenge is made behind as well. Look, Guimaraes up the inside of Fuoco, he's done it, and Rosenqvist gets past both of them. Fantastic racing. You can overtake in a Formula 3 car around here, you've just got to be brave about it. Awesome stuff. Rosenqvist gains 2 places out of all of that. Esteban Ocon there worked his way downhill. He's not had anybody really to race against for the duration of this 7th round of the championship. It's just been a masterclass for him. But Dennis van der Laar around the outside of Gustavo Menezes, that was some move. The downside for poor van der Laar is it still doesn't give him any points. He's still outside the top 10, but you can't fault his enthusiasm and his commitment, can you? Esteban Ocon leads the way. He climbs uphill, and here's the replay. There, van der Laar around the outside. He just got far enough in front to be able to move across for the line midway through the corner. But that was really brave stuff, because on the outside where there's less grip, where all the rubbish gets spat over the course of the race weekend, that was really good stuff by van der Laar. And then Rosenqvist able to take advantage of dramas at the next corner when Guimaraes made his move and delayed both him and Fuoco. So the race leaders are currently working lap 21 out of Foch. Goes Verstappen. I was about to suggest that Verstappen has flattered to deceive in this race, because he hasn't really been able to gain a place, but third on your first Formula 3, your first car race round Poe, actually ain't a bad effort at all. So because Verstappen has so much height behind him, and because he delivers, and because he is so good, you kind of think that third is almost a disappointment, but it's been another good drive by Verstappen. Coming into this race, as far as the championship was concerned, 5th, 10 points behind Lucas Auer. Well, Auer is ahead of him on track, so that gap is going to grow in the title race. And Esteban Ocon, who already had a mighty gap over Antonio Fuoco, is going to extend that further. Fuoco got in the points. Tom Blomqvist who was at second equal, is out of the points as well. So the real beneficiary in this is going to be Lucas Auer. He may only get points for second, but he's going to break into, I think, the top 3 now. We've got 6 more minutes of the race to go. It was 29 laps, but a maximum time allowed of 35 minutes. And because of these 2 safety car periods, we're fast running out of laps against the number of minutes available. So now it's just against the clock. The flag goes out the first time the leader crosses the line once the 35 minutes are completed. Race leaders downhill once again. Esteban Ocon, to make the point about the race leader, doesn't just lead outright, he's also the man who leads the rookie section of this race, for which there is a separate podium. The second of the rookies is Max Verstappen. And the third of the rookies is Jake Dennis. That's how it runs at the moment. The leaders come through. For Esteban Ocon, it has been a very impressive drive. He's got 5 more minutes of it, which will be, what, 4 more laps? He's working his way uphill now to the Lycée Barthou. He's back on the power, keeps away from the pavement, keeps away from the Armco, keeps away from the tyre barriers. In second place, Lucas Auer is now keeping away from Max Verstappen. That gap really has widened on this third stint of the race, if you like, after that second safety car period. Spike Goddard turning his way uphill there. Goddard in 9th place at the moment. Goddard's best has been a 10th, so this potentially will be his best finish of the season if he can hang on in there. He's chasing after Ed Jones. Goddard is one of those never give up drivers, so if he can put a bit of pressure on Jones, you never know, he might gain a further place out of all of this. Sean Gamail is in 10th spot behind them in the yellow Carlin car. Goddard runs a little bit wide there as he comes downhill out of the Puy-Miro hairpin. Now the race leader ticking off the laps, ticking off the minutes. 23 of them are now done, and Esteban Ocon drifts the car right up to the edge of the pavement there, to the edge of the track to the pavement, and powers up the Boulevard des Pyrénées. Lucas Auer runs second. Auer very good in the first sector. He's just completed that now as he goes under the bridge at Pont Oscar. But for the remainder of the lap, he's not able to match the sort of pace of Ocon. And so over the course of a lap of the circuit, he doesn't really make up the places and the time that he needs to. There, Max Verstappen in third, starting to drop away a little bit now. Is it significant that despite his efforts, the Volkswagen car has not been able to outpace the Mercedes engine cars, of which there are 2 ahead of him? It's a good description. As we saw Auer and Verstappen running side by side uphill, but the Mercedes engine just seems to have a little bit more grunt when required. And that's what kept Auer ahead of Verstappen. As a Puy-Miro now plunging downhill through this fast sequence of corners into the chicane, and then back on the power up towards the end of the lap. 3 more minutes to go for Esteban Ocon, who comes over the line. Lucas Auer looking good for second spot. And Max Verstappen for the podium once again, seemingly. Jake Dennis still looking very strong in fourth, heading for his best finish of the year. And again, he's been able to shake off the challenge of Jordan King. That gap has widened over the course of the last few laps. In 6th place is Felix Sorales. And that's going to be his best of the year as well. So there are quite a few drivers here. They only by 1 position, but at least scoring their best finish. And I think Sorales will be pretty chuffed about that, because it's been a lean start to the season for him. Puerto Rican moving to a team that's new to the championship this year. Team Westech F3 has a very good track record in junior single-seater racing in the UK, for example, the Formula Ford 1600, but has largely had most of its success in the European Open F3 Championship, which grew out of the Spanish series, and Gavin Wilson and Barry Lamb have been in that for many years. Now, for this year, stepping up to the European Championship, and Sorales in 6th place, driving for Team Westech. Mick Kouros, his engineer, hugely experienced, ex-Fortec, ex-Manly Motorsport, and working well with Sorales. And so the man in 6th place there, just coming into shot, heading for his best finish of the season. Leader through 2 more laps, looking at the clock. Jake Dennis goes over the line. There's Ocon heading uphill. It's a very steep climb, this, heading up towards Pont Oscar, on top of which you turn into that left hairpin. 50 metres time or so. We'll set the car up for the next right at the Lycée Barthou. Jake Dennis, Jordan King through the 2 Carlin cars, closing up a little under braking, but even if Jordan King can get onto the back of Jake Dennis, it won't be easy to find a way past. Esteban Ocon continues to dominate. He was one more lap out of this race. Looking at the clock, he comes downhill. Turns his way now through the hairpin at Bois-Miro. He's back onto the power once again. For Esteban Ocon then, it's going to be win number 3 of what is now perhaps starting to look like his season. He had a victory at Silverstone, he had a victory at Hockenheim. He will come across the timing line now with less than a lap time left in the race. So there is just one more for him as he goes towards the Virage du Gard. He's on his last lap now. And the Frenchman with a good karting pedigree came to Formula Renault, spent 2 seasons in that. Euro Cup, he was 3rd in the championship last year, steps up to Formula 3 for this season, and now you're starting to see that he is the real danger man for the championship. He was the only man to have won more than once. Now he's going to notch up a 3rd victory. He's going to be very hard to stop, because not only is he winning races, he's also scoring points. The lowest he's been all year is 9th, and therefore every round he's been in the points. Most of them he's been on the podium. Indeed, in 3 of them could have been on the top step, assuming he gets to the end of this last lap without disaster. To the chicane for the last time comes Esteban Ocon. He's on the power, he sprints downhill. It has been a mighty display. Round 7 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship at Pau is won by Esteban Ocon and Prema Power Team. In 2nd place across the timing line is Lucas Auer, and 3rd goes to Max Verstappen. In 4th place it will be Jake Dennis ahead of Jordan King and Felix Morales. But 3 different teams make up the top 3 finishers: Prema Power Team, Muka Motorsport and Van Amersfoort Racing. But Esteban Ocon is the man of the day. That was some drive. He may not have had to do much defending, he may not have had to do any overtaking, but it was an absolute masterclass. He did not put a wheel wrong, a faultless display by Esteban Ocon. So Ocon it is who is victorious. The Prema Power Team guys are celebrating in the pit lane. Pau, which is a superb circuit, it's got a great charm to it, and it's a town unsullied by modern skyscrapers or ugly buildings. It just looks like the ideal place to have street racing. It's very popular with the teams. It's a real challenge for the drivers. It's great to have it back on the FIA's Formula 3 calendar. And as the cars completely slowing down lap, good reception to the drivers from the marshals, and no doubt from the fans as well, who are very appreciative of the drivers' efforts around this circuit. So Esteban Ocon's 3rd victory of the season, and that's going to set him up nicely, of course, in the championship. His advantage there will stretch, and he is understandably very, very happy with his day's work. Lucas Auer coming home in 2nd place. The results: Esteban Ocon, Lucas Auer, Max Verstappen for the podium. Jake Dennis takes his best of the year ahead of Jordan King and Felix Morales. And then Giovinazzi, Jones, Goddard and Galan ran out the top 10. Tom Blomqvist 11th, Felix Rosenqvist 14th, Antonio Fuoco 17th. Big disappointment for him. Roy Nissany 20th, having started last on the grid. And then Nicholas Latifi, we know, never got into the race. Alex Torrell, Mitchell Gilbert we lost early on. So Latifi, another casualty, even though it wasn't with damage, it was with whatever the drama was, perhaps a mechanical problem that forced him not to take part in the race. That's something the teams will need to address for later on today. They don't race against today, but they do have qualifying for tomorrow's 2 races. Delight for Esteban Ocon, who clambers out of the car, sprints over to see the Prema Power Team guys and congratulate them on their work. They, in contrast, just say to the driver, it was all down to you. But Esteban Ocon has done a fine job, and he will make his way shortly to the podium. His winning margin just under 3 seconds in the end. He'll be joined, of course, on the podium by Lucas Auer and Max Verstappen, and Jake Dennis will be there as well, because he's the 3rd placed of the rookie drivers that we will need. Esteban Ocon, a very happy man indeed. Formula 3 first came to Pau for the Grand Prix in 1999 when Benoit Treluet was the winner. Over the years, the likes of Jonathan Cochet, Anthony Davidson, Lewis Hamilton, Romain Grosjean have won the Pau Formula 3 Grand Prix and gone on to great things. And the last two winners in Formula 3 days, Marco Wittmann and Raffaele Marciello, but it was Luca Giotti who was the winner last year in Formula Renault. And I think it's fair to say that Formula 3 is a proper category for a Grand Prix at Pau, more so than Formula Renault. And Esteban Ocon is a man with a very bright future ahead of him. His third season of car racing, racking up the wins, racking up the points. And is he going to be the man that we talk about late in the season as a potential champion? He's looking very strong already. Max Verstappen, I think, a bit disappointed with his race. He had high hopes. Well, third ain't bad, but it could have been even better. And a few furrowed brows at Van Amersfoort Racing, suggesting they might have anticipated a bit more out of the car as well. And Verstappen's sign language suggested that the handling went away towards the end of the race, which is why it was losing pace and becoming a bit more of a handful. Fred Espinos, the FIA's media delegate for F3, ushering the drivers now towards the podium. The cars in Parc Fermé. Technical checks will be carried out on the top three before they are returned to the teams. And Esteban Ocon celebrating a third victory of the season. And in such fine style, just a faultless display. A wonderful backdrop to Pau, the tips of the Pyrenees in the background. And Esteban Ocon had almost got to the flag before anybody else came out of the last corner. Ocon from Lucas Auer, and that shot shows you just how much time Max Verstappen had lost over the last few laps of the race. Did he brush up against the curb, maybe? But he certainly lost a big chunk of time to Lucas Auer, who he was at one point alongside, and Jake Dennis there, the best of the rest. You can see him walking towards the podium in his Racing Steps Foundation t-shirt. The man who's third in the rookies, fourth overall. Lucas Auer is the one non-rookie, his second year of the championship. So Esteban Ocon it is who takes the win, and he takes the 25 points for being the race winner. And the drivers now make their way up to the podium, where Jean Todt and Gerhard Berger will be in order to make the presentations, the two of them, on behalf of the FIA, underlining the importance of the championship and indeed underlining the importance of the Pau Grand Prix within the calendar for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. The event first won in 1933 on the streets of Pau by Marcel Lehou in his Bugatti. There had been a Pau Grand Prix in 1901 on a completely different circuit, but on this track around the streets, 1933 is the first year. It's the 73rd running as well this weekend. It had non-championship Formula 1 races from 1947. Formula 2 first came here in 1952. And in those days, the likes of Jim Clark, Jochen Rindt, Jack Brabham were multiple winners. Formula 2 continued to race here until 1984, when the category was abandoned in favour of Formula 3000, and Christian Danner was the first Formula 3000 winner. But in Formula 3 terms, well, race 3 of the weekend is the actual race that carries the Grand Prix tag, but do not bet against Esteban Ocon being the winner of that, and therefore a Pau Grand Prix winner. Round 7 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship is done. The podium is ready, and the drivers will make their way out very shortly. The teams, no doubt, with fine voice below the podium. The Prema Power team guys will receive their drivers. And as soon as we have everybody we need for the two podiums, the rookies, as well as the overall classification, then out will come the drivers. Esteban Ocon beating more experienced F3 drivers, so he wins outright and he wins the rookie competition, relying his lack of Formula 3 experience, where he does know single-seater racing cars with slips and wings. Formula Renault is a very good pedigree, a good proving ground, but Max Verstappen third. Don't forget, his first year of car racing. Verstappen didn't start one of the Hockenheim races, but he's had a second and a win, now a third and a fifth, along with a couple of retirements. So to say that he's been win or bust this year is unfair to Max Verstappen, but he certainly had a couple of races where he's not finished, and that's cost him points. The real disappointment was Hockenheim, where he was at the front of the grid and had a problem on the warming up lap and never started. The potential 25 points gone in that one alone. Well, the marshals are a bit busy in that last race, with quite a bit of clearing up to do, but they are well versed. They know exactly how to get cars quickly out of the way, and all the danger points. There are cranes poised with the harness ready to attach the roll hoop of the car and crane it out of the way as quickly as possible. Esteban Ocon very much the centre of attention, as you can appreciate, after that great win. And the Frenchman, the Lotus Formula 1 junior driver, is on the top step of the podium at the end of round 7 of the championship at Pau. He's joined by Lucas Auer and Max Verstappen, and Prema Power Team represented as well as the winning team. Esteban Ocon. The French national anthem is played. A home winner is great for the fans, and points in the championship are great indeed for the Frenchman. It's an important series. You've got to keep scoring and scoring well all season. Jean Todt, the FIA president, hands over the trophy to the winner and congratulates the top 3 drivers. And now Gerhard Berger, as the president of the FIA Single-Seater Commission, steps forward to hand the winning team's trophy to Prema Power Team. He congratulates the top 3 drivers, including, of course, his nephew in the white overalls, Lucas Auer, who was a race winner at Hockenheim, where Gerhard was also there to present trophies. Jean Todt steps forward once more to hand the trophy to Lucas Auer for 2nd place and to congratulate Prema Power Team. And then for 3rd position, it will be a trophy for Max Verstappen. His father, of course, was a Benetton F1 driver in the same era as Gerhard Berger was in Formula 1, and Max receives his trophy. And for the drivers at their feet is the champagne, and this is where the podium suddenly becomes rather more empty. And the drivers, even though they need their overalls for a qualifying session in a couple of hours' time, are still going to spray the champagne in a rather ungallant manner, most of it, I'm afraid, at the trophy girls, who scatter out of the way, and the drivers from the overall contest will now leave the podium. But, of course, a couple will remain, because we have the presentations for the rookie classification, for which Ocon and Verstappen will remain, and Jake Dennis will go to the podium as well. First of all, though, there are photographs to be taken. The top 3 drivers all huddled together on the top step. But a race that had the drama we anticipated, and for a number of drivers had too much drama. Quite a few damaged cars. That, I'm afraid, is a byproduct of what you get at Pau. The top 3 that can celebrate deserved so, because they all raced well. Lucas Auer did his best to attack, and he did some great defensive driving in that as well. So I think it's fair to say that he deserved his 2nd position. Max Verstappen threw everything at it as well, didn't he, to try to blag 2nd place before the end, but just wasn't to be. And so as the drivers now make their way from the podium, the man in the white shirt, Christoph Hever, who is the man who is the promoter of this championship, making sure that the podium is ready for the rookies. But there are going to be a number of teams with quite a lot of work to do before we get to the 2nd qualifying session of the weekend, which of course has 2 grids to come from that. Race 2 and race 3 of the weekend, race 3 being for the Pau Grand Prix tomorrow afternoon. And a number of them will be like Fortec, for example, like T-Sport, looking at the damage. Hopefully, if it's just rear wings and nose cones, that's not too much to do, but if it's suspension, then that's a big problem. The rookies make their way to the podium. Esteban Ocon back to the top step, Max Verstappen this time 2nd, and Jake Dennis, the British driver, onto the podium for 3rd, carrying the colours of the Racing Steps Foundation. So once more, the French national anthem rings out for Esteban Ocon, and the French driver takes honours, of course, in the rookie class. This is his 7th Formula 3 race and his 3rd victory, and it is once more Jean Todt who steps forward to hand over another trophy to Esteban Ocon as the rookie winner for 2nd. Gerhard Berger steps forward to hand over the trophy to Max Verstappen. But for Jake Dennis, who's only just arrived on the podium, having not been here for the overall classification in which he was 4th, it will be his only trophy of the day. And the young Brit receives Jean Todt, who says félicitations, and hands over the trophy to Jake Dennis, who is acquitting himself very impressively in this, his first year in the championship. He was the winner of the Formula Renault North European Cup 2 years ago. He was 4th in the European Formula Renault competition last year. Jake Dennis for this season stepping up into Formula 3, and of course, having done quite a lot of now racing in Europe, some of the circuits are known to him. 4th place, a good result. Let's look at some of the highlights of round 7 of the championship, headed away from pole position by Esteban Ocon. Drama on the very first lap of the race. Alexander Toril was the casualty, launching himself over the back of Mitch Gilbert. Everybody else breathed in and squeezed through the gap, but not surprisingly, that brought out the safety car. Everybody bunched up on the restart. Ocon had it all to do again. But this time, Auer knew exactly how close Verstappen was, and those two ran nose to tail down to the Virage du Gard. When Auer made a small mistake, though, Elise Bartu up the inside went Verstappen. They were wheel to wheel coming out of the corner. They almost touched, but the Mercedes engine had enough grunt to stay ahead. Another safety car was deployed, and when the race got back underway, Jake Dennis and Jordan King ran side by side. But the best move of the day round the outside of the Pont Oscar from Dennis van der Laar to go ahead of Gustavo Menezes. Others in strife included Riccardo Agostini, whose car expired heading uphill, but Esteban Ocon came through to score victory by just under 3 seconds from Lucas Auer, with 3rd and another podium finish going the way of car racing rookie Max Verstappen. For Esteban Ocon, it's a 3rd victory of the season. His championship lead is building all the time, and right now he is the man to beat in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. The championship is led by Esteban Ocon, now 128 points to the 81 of Lucas Auer, who moves up to 2nd. Max Verstappen moves up to 3rd, ahead of Tom Blomqvist and Antonio Fuoco, neither of whom score. Jordan King 6th, ahead of Giovinazzi and Jones. The non-scoring Latifi drops to 9th. And Jake Dennis comes into the picture now. He is into the top 10 after that 4th place finish. Felix Rosenqvist 11th, ahead of Felix Morales, the non-scoring Gilbert, Nassani, Goddard, van der Laar, Menezes, Galil, Brant Meisner and Guimaraes round out the top 20 in the title race at the moment. And of course there are quite a few drivers who have yet to score points at all, with those being Tatiana Calderon, Szymkowiak, Hurst, Beretta, Toril, and then the two we've yet to see in the championship, Ferrucci and Zala. Esteban Ocon takes win number 3 of the season in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. We have rounds 8 and 9 to look forward to tomorrow at Pau. Don't miss them. For now, from France, from David Addison, goodbye.